4 tips and tricks that you need to become a better builder. So if your builds are looking like this and you want to improve on your building, well, this tip is going to help you a lot. This is the same exact building except I added stairs going upside down to make this a little bit less jagged than the original one. And then I also added a little jet out on the side of the house to add a little bit more shape. And I also made the connection in between the new roof and the old roof pretty smooth. So this example is just to show you guys that if you are just having a plain simple build with just one box, make sure to add a little bit more shape to it, like add another room or make the roof a little bit more cleaner. All it takes is a little bit of practice and you guys will get there. Alright, let's move on to step number 2, texturing and small details. So as you can see, we added a little bit of a archway going around the door, and also we have a variation between stripped and normal spruce logs, and the stone walls are now texturized with andesite, stone buttons, and stone bricks. And another good thing to add to your builds, if you have windows, you can put flower beds just below the window, and it looks really nice. Also, another cool detail is to always have like these support beams showing that this build, if it was in real life, is a strong and sturdy house. So basically, step 2 is really just making sure you add just a little bit more detail to your builds so that it doesn't look so flat. Alright, so now let's move on to step 3, gradients. A gradient is basically one color slowly transitioning into another color. So if you were to choose, like I did here, a darker gray, I transitioned it all the way to the stone, using colors that slowly got lighter until I reached the right shade that I was looking for, aka stone. Now, just another thing to tell you guys about gradients is the more shades you have in between your gradients, the smoother the gradient will be, compared to if you were to just have acacia, pale moss, and then stone. So yeah, you can tell that this transition is not smooth at all, and it almost like jumps to the next color. So that's why it is good to have more blocks or more shades in between that so that it looks smoother. And also, as you can see, I added shading to the house. I basically followed the actual sun or daylight as a template. I put the darker blocks where I would think there would be big shadows. So I put some acacia down here underneath the flower bed. So now that you learned gradients, let's move on to the 4th and final step, life. Always make sure you are adding greenery, grass, bushes, moss, anything you can to add a little bit more life into your builds. As you can see, I put some bushes, some mossy cobblestone, lichen, literal bushes, vines, which overgrown, And also when you're making bushes, just a little tip is that you make your bushes not too cluttered, and also make sure that they have like a little bit of a balance to them. For example, this bush here, there's a little bit of a fluffiness on top, and then it eases into a leaf block, and then into some normal grass. And then also make sure that you're filling your flower beds, obviously, with flowers. As you noticed in this other example, I didn't have flowers because I didn't want to show the example of having life yet inside of your builds. So I did it over here. And also notice on how I'm adding all the greenery and mossy areas in like the edges of the stone wall, because that's kind of where water would most likely end up being. On the edges of the roof, because that's where water would fall, or on the ground where there would be moisture. So yeah, that is the last tip I have for you guys to help improve on your building. And you can really see how much of a difference all these steps make when you back away and look at all these stages from afar. So yeah guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you learned a lot from all the tips and tricks that I gave to help improve your building skills. So that's going to be it for today. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.